Hi, I'm Sheena Steckel, an instructional consultant for the University of Utah's Center for Teaching and Learning Excellence. Today we're going to talk about a great tool for helping you plan an entire course or an individual lesson, and that is an alignment grid, seen here on your screen. Wiggins and McTighe recommend using alignment grids when following their backwards design plan. These grids help you to ensure that your course outcomes or lesson learning objectives are met through both activities and assessment. Alignment grids can be used at the course level, where you're looking at outcomes, or the lesson level, where you're looking at objectives. And if you decide to use an alignment grid to plan an individual lesson, be sure that your learning objectives support the larger learning outcomes that you have for the course. The first and most significant part of planning any course and in filling out your alignment grid is the left-hand column, the learning outcomes or objectives. Here, you fill in what should be action-oriented, measurable, and appropriate outcomes for your student knowledge level, and these should be directly linked to assessment and teaching and learning activities. For more information on how to create pedagogically sound learning outcomes or objectives, check out our website or our course recreation web series. After you have figured out an outcome that you know is measurable, you need to plan that measure, which is your form of assessment. Now, assessment and assignments should both be directly tied to your learning outcomes. So don't assign a 20-page paper for the sake of assigning a 20-page paper. You should be assigning a 20-page paper, however, if your course outcomes include goals such as analyzing and applying theoretical texts or honing writing skills. When planning assessment, you should incorporate multiple types in order to accommodate different learning styles and skill sets among your students. You should have informal, real-time assessments that may or may not be graded, such as a small group activity in class, and you should also have formal summative assessment for exams, presentations, and papers, etc. For more information on creating diverse forms of assessment, check out our website or our course recreation. Next, you need to plan your teaching and learning activities. These are what you're going to do to facilitate learning in your classroom. These may include a lecture, group work, or activities such as student expert, jigsaw, think, pair, share, or concept mapping. While lecturing may be considered the most efficient way to give students information, it's the least engaging. Our website and our course recreation web series both have lots of information on how to incorporate active learning into your online or face-to-face class. Now, every lesson doesn't need to include lots and lots of bells and whistles, but at the very least, we recommend doing what we call an interactive lecture, wherein you're lecturing, but frequently leaving places for students to participate by asking them questions, having them work in groups, or facilitating a classroom discussion. Once you have figured out your learning objectives or outcomes, how you're going to assess learning, and what activities are going to facilitate learning, be sure to think about the resources or technology tools that you're going to need to help you reach these goals. These may include things such as textbooks, film, software such as Ink2Go, which we use to record this video, PowerPoint slides, service learning, or guest lectures. Now that we've gone over the components of an alignment grid, let's fill one out together. If you are creating a new course, you should take some time to think about the goals for learning for your course. In general, we recommend listing about 5 to 7 outcomes per course. The reality is you're probably going to have more learning goals than that for your class, but listing too many can be overwhelming to students. So pick the ones that are most important to you, and we'll start with them. If you are recreating an existing course, you should already have your outcomes listed in your syllabus. So the first thing that we want to think about when planning the learning objectives or outcomes is to say, By the end of this course, students will be able to, and then create your outcome or objective based on this statement, beginning with active, measurable terminology. So for this video, one of our outcomes is to create a specific and measurable learning objective. So we write that in the left-hand column. The next step is to list the types of assessment that will be used to measure this objective or outcome. Remember that not all forms of assessment need to be graded, but they should help you measure your learning outcome. One way to measure our outcome of creating specific measurable learning objectives would to simply be asking students in class who can give me an example of a specific measurable learning objective. This is an ungraded assignment that allows you to informally assess student work. A more formal assessment that is able to measure student end goals of creating a learning outcome or objective would be to have them submit their own alignment grid or syllabus that includes course outcomes. In an online class, you could have students work collaboratively on a document and submit it. So here is what it looks like in our alignment grid, where we have listed our ungraded and graded forms of assessment for either a face-to-face or online class. After we've decided our assessment, then we want to consider what activities that we're going to use to help students learn. These go in the column to the right. Just like we don't want to assign papers because we feel like students don't write enough papers, we also don't want to plan activities that don't promote learning or connect to course content. So we mentioned an assessment where students in an online class can work in groups to produce a collaborative document. This is both an activity and an assessment, so it automatically aligns. You're able to have students engage with content while you monitor their understanding, graded or not. Most activities and assessments work like this. Here is what our activities look like on our alignment grid. Again, they help support one another. In the right-hand column, that's where we're going to want to write any resources or technology tools that we will need to help us reach our learning goals. This helps us lay out what materials students will need to purchase, what tools we will need to create materials, and ensures that we don't show up to a class short-handed. For our objective to create specific, measurable learning outcomes, we needed to have plenty of examples to get students thinking. We also needed to use the Ink2Go software to record this video, and we might include a PowerPoint slide in a face-to-face class or a different video lecture in our online class as well. The used software website, software.utah.edu, has some great software that instructors and students can use to help learning. And Canvas has a number of applications that can easily be added to any course. Just go to your settings and then to apps for a long list of very valuable technology tools. So there you have it. This is how we can create alignment grids and use them to help us plan pedagogically sound courses with clear goals that are measured and activities that help us to reach these goals. If you want to have your alignment grid reviewed by one of the staff at the Center for Teaching and Learning Excellence, go ahead and email it to us at info@ctle.utah.edu. Thanks for watching.